Alright, let's go live.
Let me turn off the
Oh
music
yeah,
in there.
probably do turn off the music.
Oh, everybody's saying they're going to be late. So they're still coming, but they're late. Did you already get a chance to look and see if you want a particular question for tonight?
I actually made a bunch of new ones with the help of AI.
Beautiful.
And I got some really good ones.
I'm looking forward to that. So we're referring to, for those of us watching here, is that some kind of message coming in right there that you need to be aware of?
No, it's fine. It has an alert, but it still streams fine, even though it has the error. It's pretty weird.
Oh, gotcha. We are talking about questions to, is that what you specifically said?
Yeah. Questions to empower our empathy.
Okay, cool. It's a great conversation. We're already on, right?
Yeah, we're already on.
All right. Well, let's you and I talk, since we haven't really haven't had that much time to talk lately, since we both been so busy doing other good stuff.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to talk about tonight? Or do you want to read off a handful of them?
Yeah, I could read off a handful of them. A lot of them are the same with the questions we've kind of asked before. Here, I'm going to find the one I really liked. Let's start with that one. It was, in what ways do you practice self-care, and how does it contribute to your overall well-being?
That's a conversation Bryce and I had almost all day long while we were out working. Was what does self-care mean right now? So what was the last part of that? What was the ways?
In what ways do you practice self-care, and how does it contribute to your overall well-being?
Okay. What else?
There's good. It's like, can you share a positive experience you've had with someone from a different background or perspective? What do you learn from that interaction? How do you handle stress or difficult emotions, and are there specific coping mechanisms that work well for you?
That could be a really powerful conversation. Yeah, I was thinking about every single person coming, that all of us can always, well, that's a really valuable one. Okay, what else?
What cultural or personal values do you hold dear, and how do they influence your decision-making and interactions with others?
Ooh, that's a really powerful one, because we spend most of our time leaning into the new, and cultural values is the leaning into the also, like what have we attached to, that we're like perfectly willing to say, yeah, I'm willing to attach myself to that, even though it's a cultural. That's a really good one.
Mm-hmm. Is there a specific memory from your childhood that has shaped who you are today, and how does it continue to influence you?
That would be one that would be very
A lot of good options.
That first one more time. What was that first one you read?
First one was in what ways do you practice self-care, and how does it contribute to your overall well-being? I liked how do you handle stress or difficult emotions, and are there specific coping mechanisms that work well for you? It's almost.
Let's talk about that one tonight. Let's really talk about that.
Yeah.
Everybody, we can all gain value from learning how to see our trigger abilities, right?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, what triggers you? Are you still triggerable? Oh, I'm still a triggerable human. Look at that. So stress is. I'll talk about it first, and just this initial thoughts that come to mind. Well, I know you already know what I would say. A lot of them, just because you and I have done so much bonding. But because I've wanted to see the ways in which I still need to become, and I want to become increasingly relatable, it seems like the things that give me the most initial awareness of stressor for me are when somebody does the very thing that I'm asking for. Helps me see the ways in which I'm not being as relatable or relatable at all as I could be. And so, and in that moment, my natural tendency my whole entire life has been to try to defend why I do what I do. So I would get defensive. And I see it just constantly when I'm in the middle of still having something that I'm being defensive about. It just seems like I see it in all the people around me. Like, hey, why are you being defensive? Why are you being defensive? Don't you know that defensiveness kills relating? Don't you see that? And so then I have to quickly go back to asking myself, okay, so hey, Ken, what is it about this concept of defensiveness that you're still wanting to draw awareness to? That's probably the thing that gives me the most of a stressor now. And it's not even happening that much, but like not too long back, I had a situation like that with Brandy where I was like, hey, my whole thought was, why are you being defensive? Don't you understand the defensiveness? And so my initial thought was, I'm gonna do some research on this so I can actually try to wrestle this around. Knowing the second I started doing the research, I went on and just said, hey, I want to watch a YouTube video on defensiveness. And the second I started watching, I just knew it was all messaging for me. I wasn't learning anything I was going to be able to tell her that was going to be even close to as powerful as what I was going to learn right then watching this, realizing even that defensiveness that I was witnessing was messaging and instruction for me. And so the coping mechanism that I chose that moment, and it was so effective. And I just had to sit there and laugh at myself because I'm like, oh my gosh, look at how you said what you said, Ken. If I was to, and I took my my victim glasses off, turned them upside down, making them accountability glasses, said, hey, what is it for me? That's I think how I would try to define the coping mechanism is the willingness to say, hey, I want to turn these victim glasses upside down and turn them into accountability glasses. How is this moment instructive for me? What's in this for me? How is this happening for me, not to me?
Yeah.
And in that moment, I realized that it was me that started the whole thing, completely unaware of my impact on me and everything else by creating a situation where where I felt like there needed to be some defensiveness. So and then watching us both blossom from that, being able to come circle back and talk about it, and the minute I started talking accountably, she immediately starts talking accountably as well, and we've both just gotten better and better and better at that as we keep on trying to relate. It was beautiful, so beautiful, the messaging. For me, that's a recent one, a stressor.
Yeah, that's way
when I
cool.
see people that are being defensive, it's like, because I not too long ago said, it was a COZSNUG night, and I said, yeah, I've realized that there's these 3 Ds that can kill our enjoyment. Defensiveness, deceit, and drugs. And I specifically meant the using of any of those things as a form of false empowerment. Instead of tapping into the inside where there's true strength, full accountability, full honesty, full awareness of, hey, this is my universe here inside of myself that I'm projecting with my little belief bubbles at my eyes. So how's this happening for me, not to me? Maybe that's one that I've just thought of.
Cool, yeah.
What about you? Anything come to mind? Or do you want to ask any questions about that or anything? Or?
Yeah. I really like that. I really relate to that a lot, actually, because it's like when nowadays, when I really do have something that comes to me, some energy that, I think of like Carly. I think of when we kind of had that whole situation with her. I had to learn how to take that moment as teaching instead of a reactionary, oh, it's all bad and it's all happening to me. No, it was very much this, I see what's going on, I see my part in this, and I see what I'm supposed to learn from it. It was really cool. It was a very intense situation, but that was probably like the most intense emotion I really had to kind of confront. Where it was, for a while, I was just going off. I was just so resistant to what she was saying in a lot of ways. But when I finally was ready to accept her, that's when she just kind of pushed us all away. It was, and not that I wasn't accepting her already, more like I heard her all the, I heard everything she was been saying, and it was like open arms. And then she just decided to push us away, and it was pretty violently at that.
Yeah, it's so life's so much more enjoyable when we can ask ourselves, hey, how is this woman instructive for me? Instead of just being the victim of other people's lack of empathy.
Yeah.
Because here we are talking about empowering our empathy, so it's so easy to see when people aren't being empathetic, right? But if I'm walking around picking out when people aren't being empathetic, I mean, what does that say about me? Right that very second. What's my empathy for their exact nowness of where they are? It doesn't.
Right. Exactly.
I'm not a morally superior being to them. They're my equal, so.
Right.
Seems like it's pretty instructive, helpful.
Yeah, that was something I learned with her was, I learned you can't, with some people, the best thing you can do is nothing at all.
Yeah, sometimes if people are, yeah. Yeah, we can't feel we can, but it doesn't get us very far to feel like we have to impose ourselves on people or defend why we said what we said or defend why we did what we did, or sometimes that seems like the best course of action if we want to have peace of mind and value the fact that everybody deserves to enjoy their life, rather than feel like we have to be involved in drama. We're drawing it to ourselves whenever we want it.
Right.
Is to choose the path of non-drama. Just take our awareness to what would be enjoyable right now. Because we all deserve it, so if I deserve it, well then, do I believe it right now? What about you? What kind of stressors and what kind of coping mechanisms? I mean...
Yeah, when I get stressed, like, I don't know, today I had a pretty stressful day because I was on a lot of moving pieces helping our friend Steve. And I wouldn't say, I was kind of on a high stress kind of vibration the whole day, but it wasn't, but I didn't take it as, a lot of people, I've kind of, when I was younger, I would always, kind of have a lot of anxiety, so I kind of knew how to deal with it in a sense of kind of keeping cool and all that, and being able to still think when you're anxious. But today I really use that anxiety. I don't think of it as anxiety. I think of it as you just feel like you need, something needs to be done. It's just a feeling. So you have that feeling for a reason. So I don't take anxiety and things like that as wrong. I see them and I say, why am I anxious? And if it's something I need to go do and take care of, well, it's probably gonna make you feel better to go do and take care of it.
Yeah. So just immediately, like, doing the very thing that you're drawing awareness, like, hey, by just asking the question, hey, what am I anxious about? Then it brings your awareness to it would be this thing. And then,
right.
Hey, what would be the next thing I can do? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very powerful.
Yeah.
You know, anxiety is something that any of us who have been leaning in on the ambitious side of life, something that we've like had as like a predominant, it's just like a norm. It's like a baseline, you know, like there's always always a little bit of angst there. That's what it was in my life. Although along the way, I kept on learning additional skills all along the way to help get to a point of increasing amounts of peace of mind. So much so that now when I think of the concept, it's I just have way more empathy for me witnessing somebody going through an anxiety attack, panic attack, worrying. I mean, I can just empathize with it so keenly because I can see myself in that. I can see how any amount of forward, leaning, eyes toward the future, potentially worrying about what could be,
Yeah.
It's just a healthy, okay, I saw that enough to see that I need to let off the gas just a little bit, and go back to the speed of traffic, where we're all just flowing nice and. Because when I'm going a little bit faster than traffic, I've probably said this plenty of times before, but I just feel like I'm the one causing the accidents and I'm not even aware of it. Putting too much fertilizer on the garden. Trying to put too many words into a conversation. Trying to, anything that is. Instead of just lovingly leaning into edges or nudging things along, it's like hell-bent on the idea that something has to happen. And that hell-bent nature is like, I still have it in me. It's like so strong. But like I definitely feel and see all the benefits that I've gained from learning how to tame it. And like pull back on the reins of my horsepower and be like, all right, channel this in the way that is valuing relatability, valuing all the things that I value the most, valuing intentionality, and predominantly, now that we're so deep into the whole concept of relatability, valuing the whole concept of COZSNUG, valuing our collaboration, valuing co-creation instead of thinking that self-sufficiency and individualism is what I used to see as like the ultimate, the apex of human existence. Is once you're finally, the self is actualized, But what is actualization without your friends? Boring, suffering, not fun. I'm not saying that doing things by myself can't be fun and have all because I value my me time. Now I just see that the most enjoyment comes when I'm valuing the me and the we all at the same time, and I see more of my impact and I care more about it, and it just makes me just want to just co-create and collaborate. I mean, think about all the times that you and I have been co-creating anything. I mean, here we are right now. Co-creating just makes for describe the feeling. It just brings more contentment, more fulfillment, more peace of mind, more enjoyment. Life's more enjoyable when we're alive together, when we realize that we're all in this together, and that we're equals. Just different skill sets. We're going to add ourselves to each other instead of judge that you're to this one or to that one. And then the kitty wants to be with us too. Wants to be all cozy, no kitty, huh? Oh, get over her, you sweetie.
I think it's kind of the same with dealing with emotions of like the past as well. It's like, why when people have like, traumatic events happen to them and they just can't stop thinking about it. It's kind of that same thing, we got to look into why are you feeling that way? Why does it keep triggering you to keep going back in to that memory? So that can be, it's kind of similar working because, when you're in the anxiety, you're just playing a future, imagination.
Right. I have, I keep looking at this because it's the alerts that I get for Brandy's blood sugar, and I wanted to just make sure she's not getting down too low to where she's fine right now, though. All right, since nobody else is here yet, let's talk about another one. What was another one of those? Or do you have anything else you wanted to share on any of that, Ash?
Yeah, I'm doing a really good job practicing just leaning into my just deepest emotions lately. And it's been really nice. I feel like I've just been living my emotions very intensely last, last month.
Whereas before you felt like you would...
I always have a little bit of resistance. A little bit of living in the future.
Like, how would it feel for you when you were doing it? Like, what is the difference between before and then up to a couple of months ago?
Yeah.
Like, how would you describe the transition period?
I feel like I have more clarity. I feel like my waves aren't quite as sporadic. I feel like I'm more like that.
I see that. I resonate with that big time. That's way less super big highs and super big lows.
Yeah. It's really nice.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ever since we've been hanging around each other, I would say life has definitively been so much more like that. Because we've seen a lot of intense things happen, a lot of big potential stressors and stuff, but
yeah,
we've really been able to navigate all that and still stay steady on the course of still doing we have a clear vision of why we do what we do, how we do it, and what we do.
Yeah.
And that sense of purpose is just priceless. Remember when you didn't have a sense of purpose?
I do.
There's nothing wrong with it, but it's like just, wow, I'm so grateful.
Yeah. I think it's more enjoyable to know your why in life and have intentionality and really just follow your heart.
Exactly. I love the idea that anybody tapping into this information right now just is finding a little bit more reason to say, hey, this is exactly why I want to live my day tomorrow.
Exactly. I think that's so important. It's why do I wake up every day? I think it's such an important question. So, it's a good question to ask yourself, because do you know?
Let's do that. Let's do a COZSNUG for that.
Oh, that could be fun.
Why
do you wake up
every day?
every day?
I just made that post. Did you read that post today?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I actually did read it. Not all the way through, at least.
We could do a COZSNUG on that. How incredibly valuable, right?
Yeah.
Everybody tapping into their own individual why and how it fits into the us. That's what's been developing for me the strongest. I think I talked about that the last couple of times, but it's just extremely big for me right now. I have the words collective trust written on that picture hanging on my mirror that I put out that intention a couple years ago. Because I had none at the point, it felt like. And then now looking at how much I really actually truly feel like I have a semblance of collective trust. Like I trust you implicitly. With my whole life I trust you. That's a valuable thing to have. but I feel love for everybody. I feel like everybody's my equal, and I just love them. But I don't trust everybody yet, because I watch too many people lie to me. I watch too many people say one thing and do another, and I value that in our relationship. Just so, it's priceless, very priceless to me. That we have that, Ash. I love you. I trust you, which feels more powerful. It's like the love is the baseline. The trust is the binding thread that weaves the tapestry all together. Or however you'd say it.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to talk about another one?
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Let's see.
What's your dad up to tonight? You know?
He's actually out on a date tonight. He hasn't been on a date in a long time, so it's pretty surprising.
Oh, wow. I love how Gilbert's just leaning against my legs, like he leans, and when I'm not giving him enough attention, he leans in harder.
Aw, that's so cute. Now, how about this? Is there a specific memory from your childhood that has shaped who you are today, and how does it continue to influence you?
Oh, Jordan's, they're here.
They're here?
Yeah,
Cool.
let's let them in.
We'll be right back, everybody. Get in here, get in here. Get in here. Oh, Lordy. Welcome, beautiful.
How's it going? Good, brother. How you doing?
So good. Good to see you. Look at those sexy glasses. Get in here.
This is me.
Oh, good.
How are you? I'm fucking great, bro. Busy working my ass off, make sure I'm like good.
Ash.
Good, how about you?
Oh, yeah. Come on in here. We're live right now. We're already going, you guys. Come on in. Kitty.
Holy chubby kitty.
He's a fat cat.
Chubby kitty.
He's a fat cat.
Oh, is this your seat?
No.
It was, it used to be.
Ooh.
Oh, hey, Papa. Oh, you so sweet, huh? You so precious. Oh, hey, what are you doing?
Sweet kitty. Oh, the chubbiness.
Is Lincoln here?
Not yet. He's gonna be here late. He said. Kelly's gonna be here late. Who else? Who's coming to that? We were just talking about
Yeah, you know, I had a good
stressors in
Yeah.
our lives and what kind of coping mechanisms we put in place and how to deal with some of the stressors that we have that come into life.
He's Ho'oponopono.
Yeah, mention that. That's a really valuable. Mention that.
Yeah, tell us about.
Yeah, it's like if you look up Dr. E. Haleakala and like Ho'oponopono, it's like H-O and then like apostrophe, so like Ho and then Oponopono. And then like you type up Ho'oponopono seminar and it'll bring up a conference where he actually did this entire seminar in Hawaii. And it's where you say to yourself, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And so the idea behind it is that it's a healing modality. For every conscious thought that we have millions of subconscious thoughts. So the way Dr. Haleakala explains Ho'oponopono is like the mother is like the conscious mind, and the subconscious mind is like the child who's like throwing a fit in the background, like doing. And it's our job as the mother to be able to like, hey, like consciously calm down that subconscious mind. So if something like irritates you, you say to yourself, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And Ho'oponopono is about being 100% responsible for everything that you attract, every experience that you go through. So if you are going throughout the day and you have this guy ride up on you in traffic, and all of a sudden you're just like, you feel this energy, and you're just like, instead of like, engaging in that and then reacting to it, just, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And you're saying to your subconscious mind with the intention of saying like, hey, I love you, and I'm sorry for attracting this experience into our existence. Please forgive me, and thank you for being. Like, thank you for like, everything. So you're like acknowledging, because the subconscious mind creates our reality, so you're thanking it. So by doing that, you're like Dr. Haleakala with Ho'oponopono was able to clean and shut down a mental asylum for the criminally insane, like psychiatric patients, and he never actually had one-on-one meetings with them. He just cleaned and did Ho'oponopono.
That's what I do now. Like, I'll listen to NPR at work, and I'll just do Ho'oponopono for all the stuff in Israel and all that stuff. Like, all day, bro.
I love you. I'm sorry.
Because
Please
we are
forgive me.
all
Thank
one,
you.
and
And we're all creating this.
being, and so, like, you know what I mean? Like, if it exists in my reality, then the problem exists inside me that I can fix to make an external change.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for doing that. Helps all.
Oh yeah, bro.
So, did you want to? What do you think? Ask. Do you think we should stay on that one for a minute?
Yeah.
And well, we just basically covered it.
Yeah, I guess so.
So let's we were gonna so that first question that we just asked ourselves, and Ash and I have just been sitting here talking about it for a while, is what kind of stressors come up in our lives, and how do we actually what kind of coping mechanisms do we use?
Right. I don't know. Everybody's different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what works for me definitely probably would not work for a lot of other people. But I like what Moroni said, dude. Like, that's the biggest thing I practice is trying to not react in a situation, even if I feel an elevated emotion, like bad or whatever. I'll just try to step back from it and decide how I want to act instead of react. Which it takes practice, but, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the magic happens, is when you consciously catch yourself. Like, oh.
Right? And then...
Ooh, yeah, I was just wearing my Victim glasses. Look at that.
Right?
What you said about that it's about us learning how to take full responsibility, where we had just barely talked. That was what I said about
Total accountability, right?
I realize if I'm seeing that somebody's being defensive, and I know the language of saying, hey, don't you understand that defensiveness kills?
Hey! Alright, look at all these beautiful women. Oh, I'll give you like a full month to stop that.
Yeah. Oh no, don't, please. It's so good to see you.
Make yourselves cozy. Yes, back there on the left. It's right back to the last one on the left.
Be Kelly.
How's it going, Langston? Long time. Daniel called me today.
I'm supposed to see we're on here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Things align for a reason, bro.
Well, yeah. Yeah, good things.
Daniel called me today, And I owe him a call back. I was right in the middle of doing some stuff, but he said you guys had the most amazing time. He just went off. Where he's like, man, Lincoln, I had just such an amazing time.
Did he tell you about all the things?
He didn't tell me about anything. I haven't talked to him yet. He just said you guys just had an amazing time.
He has been bestowed some extra dimensional perceptions.
Beautiful.
And has seen, the wars.
Yeah.
With dragons and angels and spaceships and all kinds of weirdness.
Right.
And they correlate with the sounds that we have heard on the back decks here and over that weird grindy, crashy.
Oh,
whiny
no
noise.
way.
That is what's going on when you hear that.
Bro, I swear there was this one time in Logan, dude. I was out by almost by Wellsville kinda, bro, and out in like this field where this farm was, like all I could hear was like something giant was like scraping against the ground. It was like, but it was like so fucking loud.
Yeah,
That's what I was kind of hearing.
That's what I'm fucking saying,
that's
bro.
Just some extra dimensional stuff.
Yeah, bro. That's what I'm saying. But there was nothing there. Like visibly, you couldn't see anything, but you could hear that shit, bro. Like
Daniel found himself blessed with the vision.
Yeah.
For a certain balance he achieved in the narrow soup.
Oh yeah, bro.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and because he called me at Pendleton, I stopped at the casino there on the way back, and said, "Just come in my trailer with me."
Pendleton, Oregon?
Yeah, and I'm just like playing slots, and like from the time like that phone call got answered to the time I left, everything I touched paid me money too. It was wild. It was so cool. It was so cool. So I'm on with him, and he's like, "Yeah, it's like this sparkly, glittery, rainbowy, like amoeba." And I can feel this tingly electric feeling when it touches me and stuff and everything else. And like the next day, he called me in the morning. He's like, "Just hold out my hand here. I can't see it anymore, but I can still feel it. It's still here."
I
So,
want to
like,
talk to him more about that.
Yeah. So he's starting to open up some perceptual wizardry.
That's lit, bro.
Cool.
Killed his fuel pump. A dragon did. Stomped on his truck bed.
Oh wow.
That's crazy, bro.
Go figure it.
Wait,
I'd love to talk to him
Cassidy
more
back
about
at,
that.
Yeah, there's just like explain a lot of stuff that you can't really see, like those videos where like all of a sudden a truck like hits something that's not there.
Yeah, right.
You can certainly get into vibrational space where those things can interact. Yes.
That's true.
Because it did it. It just bounced the back of his truck, like on the suspension, and killed it dead. And he went back the next day, and the fuel pump was just dead. Not able to replace it.
That's crazy, bro.
Serpent drag. I don't know. He sent me some approximations.
And I found even more proof about that because like if you look into like any of like the dinosaur museums, like the Tyrannosaurus Rex bones, they made all that shit up, dude. Like they couldn't find any of those bones around the Tyrannosaurus Rex skulls. And so like the theory is that they're dragon skulls because dragon bones are supposedly hollow. So that's why they didn't fossilize except for the skull.
Yeah.
But like they made the T-Rex up, dude. Like a bunch of different animals from different sites, bro. I'm serious though, dude. To hide dragons from us. When we have pictures of dragons in every ancient text from every culture around everywhere.
Have you seen Meet the Robinsons? It's so funny. He's like, "You idiot! Why can't you get them?" He's like, "Because I have big
It's
head."
only about 600 grams.
Really?
I think you didn't think this clown's real.
That's crazy as fuck.
It's so funny.
So where are we at tonight?
Yeah.
That's fucking wild, bro.
Dude, it's...
Tonight we were talking before you guys came in. Thank you so much.
Let's let Cassie's probably.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for having us,
Wait for
bro.
Cassie as well.
Yes, you're so welcome.
Straight up.
Come and join us, Cassie.
I love you. You have this cool purple chair. Nice. Oh.
That's so good to have all
The
of you.
studio seats that we had at the Badass show when we were down in Monarch. We got this whole thing all set up, and those were on stage. It's on stage chairs for when you're getting interviewed. So you guys are in the hot seats tonight.
That's wild. Oh yeah. Thought it was extra warm.
Hot See.
So we have been talking about stressors. Do you want to read the exact question, Ash?
Yeah, the question was, how do you handle stress or difficult emotions? And are there specific coping mechanisms that work well for you?
That's something that comes to mind.
Yeah. Just breathing.
Tell us more. Like, do you want to share like a specific thing that stresses you, and then how you do, like, what do you do for breathing? I mean, you don't have to share it specifically.
Well, lately at work there's this machine that makes it screams at me all the time. And I just kind of go through my deep breathing, and then I guess not only that, but at work, this might sound kind of silly, but we have to wear earplugs for like all of our PPE, like just different safety gear. And with my earplugs in, I can go through like the breathing like of the vowels, and it centers me and brings me back, like just kind of like just not to let it get to me.
Do you breathe out loud while like you're vibrating the vowels, or how do you?
Yeah.
So can you show us an example? Like, so you actually like you're vibrating through the vowels,
Yeah.
and one breath at a time for each. Or
Yeah,
how do you
that's
do
what
it?
I do. Yeah.
Interesting. I like that. Nice. I know a little bit about that space.
Yeah. It is nice.
It's been played enough to know that it's valuable.
Very.
Oh,
Very.
yeah.
Remember when we played around at that space when we were out there at Devil's Playground?
That little bubble.
That little. Did you get in that, Moroni? Wow.
The resonance. of
No,
that.
no, it was
Wow.
me and
Chest
him,
cavity.
me and him and Brady.
Oh,
He's got the double one.
Brady was there.
Yeah,
Oh, are you serious?
yeah.
Was that
And this is why like
And
me
this
him-
powerful voice.
And this is why we want
all
to get
together.
and
Yeah,
then
wanna
we're
get together.
and this is why
Wow.
we want to get together, like us and bring you in document and videography with Ashton and Brady and Mona. I mean, we need to do some.
Let's go do that. That's
compass.
That would be
we
neat.
gotta go out there and fully
Hell
consecrate
yeah. Hell yeah.
the King COZSNUG out there.
Wow.
You guys saw King COZSNUG out there, right?
The chief.
Yeah.
Yeah, the face.
That's King
yeah.
COZSNUG.
I like that.
Yeah. All right. So what about you, Link?
So,
Link, you ever deal with stress anymore in your life?
not very much. It's mostly like my stress is how do I get more time with Ava. That's my only stress. Everything else is just some stuff that like that can be done or not or whatever. It does like things flow.
Yeah. Right.
Understandable. Very
Things
understandable.
flow. But no, yeah, I get wrapped up in that kind of stress. Stuff is like paralyzing only in the communication front because the phone is kind of the stress. So it's like I don't want anything to do with it, but that's what I have to do to figure out all and arrange all the things.
I see what you mean. Like so just being willing to actually face it is part of your way of coping.
Well, just doing the communication thing. Like I'm so habituated out of it, and then the being communicative is stupid, hard for how easy it should be.
Right. Okay, I can relate to that.
Dehabituated.
Okay, Ashley, does anybody else have anything else they want to talk about on that? Because we have another, we came up with, Ashton came up with a handful of other really good questions today.
Okay.
Should we talk about one of those other ones?
Yeah.
What was that other one that we really liked that was?
I can look right in your view.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
They can hear me.
Chubby Kitty really loves Ashton. It's adorable.
Ashton wakes up to 4 kitties laying most mornings. He's a cat. He's a cat's love.
Oh.
I like this question. What cultural or personal values do you hold dear, and how do they influence your decision making and interactions with others?
This one was like, when I first heard it, it was like,
Cognitive liberty.
So it's a cultural, how would you tie that to being a cultural value?
Well, it's taking responsibility and accountability for one's own state of mind. It is your mind. You're the driver. You can put it where you want it to be. Everything that you're putting yourself through is your fault. Like, own it, and
That's funny,
own
dude.
it and drive it.
That literally,
You know?
I was gonna say about the last question too, because it's all your mindset. Like, you make your own stress. Do you know what I mean? If you just trust in whatever you believe in, that this is all for something, then the stress melts away. Like, because if I would have seen me now, like 4 years ago, I would have never believed I'd be here. You know what I mean? So they've got me this far. I might as well just continue to have faith and listen to my guides. Do you know what I mean? Because with that, like, if I ever have a question, I just ask. And then there's no worry. Like, at all. Ever.
Yeah, how's this happening for me instead of to me right now?
Right, well, exactly, right? You can be the victim or you can grow.
Mm-hmm. We'll bring our drama to us when we feel like we want to face something inside of ourselves that we've been suppressing. So what cultural events? So cognitive. I want to lean more into that. That's a cognitive liberty.
Cognitive liberty. Being
So how do we tie this? So how do we tie that into?
Well, how do you just define that?
being responsible and accountable for whatever narrow soup balance that is existing in your head, in your gray matter in the present moment.
Cool.
Like letting it flow naturally or artificially deviating it into a state for a purpose. Like that's a person's right and liberty to be able to do so and ought to be able to do so, not to be able to understand how that is, valuable and be able to learn about these extra dimensional sources of perceptions and things and ideas without all this weird prohibition-y, stigmatized, I don't know what you call it, religious censorship.
What is it, thinking programming?
Oh yeah, society says if you do or think anything like that, we will relegate you to the very margins.
Your
of
brain
this
can only
society.
fit this one pattern in it. It has to be a religious or governmental, institutionalized, on secular. There's not really much room in between. Like in Western culture, Islam's fine because it's a Abrahamic religion. Judaism, Christianity, they're all the same model, really, like as far as what it does and how it affects the brain. But they like to make sure that it sticks within that model. You start getting into the Hindu and the Buddhist stuff, and it's not the same box, and they don't like it.
Right.
And it doesn't get publicity, and it doesn't get talked about, and it doesn't get recognized or addressed or brought into the place where it might alter the shapes of the boxes they're trying to make.
Yeah, they don't want free thinkers, bro. They want people who work and like follow orders. You know what I mean? So,
Right? Yeah, we were just talking about education the other day, like the public school system.
Yes.
They're training up a bunch of followers, not a bunch of leaders.
Cassie,
Right.
The obvious open up any other curriculum and just look at it.
Cassie, go. You got this.
So, like my kids are all homeschooled, and some days are better than others at like sticking to the plan of like doing the curriculum and doing the things. But I'm not going to say that they don't learn every day by other things that are, in my opinion, more important than turning them into institutionalized like little worker bees. But I had been asking for like a sign or just confirmation that I was doing the right thing by not just going and putting, especially my 6-year-old, in school. And for whatever reasons, just because it gets questioned by my parents, like there's always going to be people that question you when you start to go off the beaten path.
Yeah, the people who belong to the institutions are always going to question how you do it, how you're
so it made me start questioning myself, and it was only a couple days later that I got complete confirmation. No, do not put your kids back in the public schools. You are doing the right thing, and this is how the universe is going to like help you to continue doing it this way. Is I got a thing in the mail from my tribe where they had gotten a grant, and we got to spend up to $250 on educational books or
Whatever you
games
chose.
or like we picked out a growing thing so that we can plant our
grow
own
kit or something?
a grow kit so we can plant our own vegetables, and then it's the see-through thing so we can see their roots growing and do that little lesson on growing our own food, which would be
Biology.
amazing. And then we got a science experiment, like 152 experiments in one little kit that there's chemistry, we can build our own, like grow our own crystals, all of that kind of stuff, down to the Montessori learning, which is really like individually based and just kind of like as a teacher to the adults saying, okay, there does not have to be a time limit on when kids should know this or that or just the box, putting them back in the box. It kind of takes an approach that's more coloring outside of the lines. And I just was really excited because it was just a perfect answer and like perfect timing, just showing me, no, like, do not go back to the box. Like, don't put them back in their
What was the
seats.
main reason why you were thinking of going back to the what was it?
I was just feeling like, well, it was the programming coming back. I feel like just
Societal pressures? Were there
yeah.
people talking
Well,
to you
no,
saying, hey,
no, just not real. Not really. It was more just kind of from my parents, like just them
Oh.
questioning, like why aren't
pressure
they
from your parents?
a little bit, like, and it wasn't in a rude way. It was just stuff that kind of put me in my own head questioning, making me question myself.
I think that every parent feels like that way when they're trying to homeschool their kids. Because, like, my mom homeschooled me. But, like, when you think about it, when you're, like, one kid in, like, 45 in a class, you never get attention from the teacher. And so, like, when you have, like, your kids at home with you, they have your full attention. And I only had to do school for 2.5 hours a day. And then when I went back to high school, like, I already knew all the shit they were teaching me because I learned it all, you know?
It's
So
an
just
institution,
like-
but it's an institution by its very structure
Right.
that promotes and encourages what is it?
Followership? Or
Yeah, they don't want people who think for themselves.
Codependence.
codependence, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's property, it's
So it's manifesting and
emboldening.
creating and manufacturing codependence with that model of that little division of attention from an adult, a learning source to a child. Like it's
Right.
If they don't
like
teach you how
literally
to,
the geometry of it. Like,
if they don't teach you how to
we
break outside
wonder why
their
people are
box,
so poor.
Well, and then
it's
that
so
just
prevalent.
goes to show, like with me being in like the public education system my whole life and everything, that right there is enough to just like one person questioning like what you're doing when you try to change that makes you question your own self, and that's just showing that they are trying to succeed, but they don't have to win.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that we went this path with the question of culture, because when you first asked the question, I took it to be like, wow, this is interesting, because we spend most of our time talking about leaning into the new together, leaning into the new, co-creating. What are we doing? COZSNUG here. This is a relatability conversation. But the question is like, what cultural values do we hold still? So like, which attachments do we have that aren't necessarily leaning into the new? It's kind of like leaning into the old. So I took it as like hey, what cultural values do we have that, like I was trying to think of like, what are the things that I honor from my past? And I just had this conversation with my buddy Bryce today where I was acknowledging how much gratitude I have for my Mormonism growing up. Because I wouldn't have the perspective I have right now had I not had been a Mormon.
No, and I
So intensely believed it so much all the way through till
when I watch all the hunting shows and stuff, and like 90% of those people seem to be going to Catholic priests for help, and I realize that they're all Catholics and stuff, and having that kind of a contrast to look at where Mormons come from and the stability and the rational approach to things that they have versus a lot of some of the other Christian deviations is definitely something that can be appreciated.
Well, look at how much they value collaboration. Here we are talking about collaboration as if it's a novel concept. Well, they're like, What the hell are you guys talking about? We've been collaborating for a long time. We're just talking about now collaborating from an inclusivity standpoint instead of exclusively walking around thinking people are eventually going to come around our special way of seeing things. And so the concept, though, was learned there. Like, I mean, it's extremely valuable. So I want to just throw that out there. Is that something I value immensely? Was all that I gained in the beautiful aspects of my Mormonism that brought me to right here. I value Mormonism now so much. I went and hung out with all my family and friends of my family that are Mormon.
If I wasn't raised Mormon, bro,
I just loved it. I mean, just thrived in that environment. Just like, wow, it was so good.
If I wasn't raised Mormon, I wouldn't have questioned reality and found out what I know now. Because when you're told the way things are and you try to communicate to your higher power and it just doesn't work, then you start to like question things, you know, like after a certain amount of time, like you can't not. And then that led me to find true creator and true divinity, you know, so without that I wouldn't have looked as hard, I don't think.
The same boat there.
I can really relate to that, you know, like for programming and cultural values. I was raised, you know, very Lutheran Christian kind of, you know, Protestant values. And, you know, when I started asking, you know, bigger questions about life, I didn't feel like all my questions were answered. So I started to kind of lean into like Eastern philosophies. And I ran into this thing where it was like I used the Eastern kind of values to deprogram myself from these Western ones. But then I found myself locked into this new value system, and I was like, oh, okay, shoot. So I had to go back and detach from that, too. And, you know, I love, you know, the balance. And I still I value and honor all of these different things that I did. But, you know, there were times where I was just very unbalanced in my pursuit.
Yeah, they give us
Well, I think everybody teeter-totters, you know, up the ladder at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it's a way wider teeter and totter the farther down the ladder you are.
Yeah, I'm really
Definitely
grateful.
starts to dial
I ended
in
up leaving
sure.
the Mormon side of things for a long time because I like growing up. I was like the second or third Mexican family in Montpelier. It was like the Mejia, the Aguilar, and then the Silvas. There was the three different families. You know, and I thought it was kind of fucked up how you go to church and you'd hear people snicker, oh, it's the same. Oh, it's the same. You'd hear them say that shit. It's like,
they're so judgmental.
you
Mormon
guys sit
churches,
here
bro.
preaching non-judgment, and then I come in here and you guys are judging me, and then you treat me differently because I'm brown. And your guys are preaching about Lamanites who are like, you know what I mean? It's just
supposed
like
to save you in the end anyway.
They're just looking
It's
for ways to judge people because they feel judged
yeah. And
themselves.
so I fell away from it, you know, and then like ended up getting back into it. But then when I got back into it, I'd also had like this understanding of all the other different cultures and how beautiful they are. And then when you combine them, because nothing's coincidental, everything's synchronistic, and then all the similarities, it's just they're just profound and beautiful. And then you start getting into it, and then you get like the scriptures talk about altars all the time, but nobody in the church actually says points out, hey, what kind of altar? What are they using in that altar? What's their altar setup like? You know what I mean? Like, 'cause you go to Native American ceremonies and they have altars, and then you actually see what they have set up. So it's like, well, there's a lot of stuff missing from the scriptures. So it's like, you know what I mean? They actually there's a part in Revelations where it talks about like there's a part where they're able to see underneath the altar all the souls that have died, you know, like in the name of Christ. And so, like, it's just really, really beautiful. I mean, the cultural thing, like, with the native, and then finding out my Aztec heritage, and then going to ayahuasca ceremony, and then after going to ayahuasca ceremony, finding my way to peyote ceremony. And it's just, like, the whole thing with the medicine wheel and the scriptures are all connected. Like, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, the red, white, the black, and the pale, the yellow. So it's the medicine wheel. There's 4 colors of the ayahuasca vine: white, red, black, yellow. Just all these things that keep like popping up. It's just like, oh my gosh, I don't think anybody really is paying attention to this massive thing that's going on, and every single thing is in on it.
It's because they put so much disinformation out there.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Like, well, for me, it was like I had to find the oldest. What was the oldest? Like the Emerald tablets? Do you know what I mean? Or like, like the Sumerian tablets? Like, what is the oldest record?
Well, I feel like the simplest record of the whole
mean?
thing is like the best way to be explained is what Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount is like, you are the salt of the earth. And then if you look at the zodiac and the
We're made
salts
of,
of
like, 12
salvation,
different
all the
salts.
different salts.
Yeah, we're made of 12
and
different
the
salts.
12 different
yeah.
salts. The 3 that you need are the ones that you have. You're born, the sign before you and the sign after you. You take those salts, you regulate your body. You literally reach salvation. Your body reaches perfect health and it's regulated completely. Like everything flows. And I just need to go natural grocers and get my fucking salt. I have the chart and all the
Wait a
salts.
minute, that was the answer the whole
And
time.
then you
Natural
quit.
grocers
And
has it
then-
on the shelf?
I need to quit procrastinating and just go get the damn salt. Oh man. But yeah, it's beautiful. The natives have a really, really beautiful tie to everything. I think that's why they tried wiping them out, because of the profound knowledge that they had, and they didn't want people seeing like the ghost dance.
No,
and,
it was different. It was a different. Their head boxes were different shapes than the head boxes
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
Western European Catholicism.
Plus, someone who's not used to spirituality goes and they see a ghost dance, they see spirits coming through the veil because they've opened up a portal right in front. They're doing earth magic and blood magic, and people are like, heathen! You know, it's just fear. It's just fear because they don't understand.
Well, it's
They're
'cause
doing
of-
it to
it's
honor
back to
the
the
dead. They're doing
religious
it for a
programming.
reason. They're not just doing it to do it. Just be like, hey, look what we can do. Like, it's everything has a purpose.
Goes back to that religious programming. They'll judge you for like missing church on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like
They got
to
the most
keep in line. If I have to follow these rules, you
Then
do
I started
too.
skipping Sunday
Like-
school to go smoke pot in spite of those judgmental bastards. Me and LeBron. And Michael Roberts sometimes.
I smoked many a pot and blessed many a sacrament.
Just wanted some loving.
Yeah, fear.
That's why I just live authentically, bro. Fear, shame, and guilt are like the lowest vibrations.
Right?
Yeah,
Try to be like
there's like
that.
a video that said authenticity is
It's the
like
highest.
4,000 times more powerful than the frequency of love.
It is. I used to think love was
Pure.
the highest, but it's
Pure.
being your most true self.
That's why we were just talking about that before you guys came. That I can look around at every single person on the whole entire planet and say, "You're my equal. You're my equal. I see you. I love you all the way. I see you as my full equal." But I only have trust for the handful that I've been leaning into collective trust now for a while, and trust comes from, are you authentic or not? Have all your words matched all your behavior or not?
You have to use
And if they don't,
discernment.
then I don't trust you all the way yet, just because it just is what it is. I believe that the authenticity piece is, yeah, it does. I feel like I'm vibrating at the highest possible vibration if I'm just being me.
Oh yeah.
And I'm enjoying myself
Right.
all the way.
Right?
And I'm more fun to be around.
That's
And
what
then
I-
we get to co-create that shit, and then when all of a sudden we're doing it together, and everyone's like, what?
That's
This is the best living. We're
That's what I loved
co-creating
about
this
that
is
Infected
Cosmo.
Mushroom concert, dude. That everybody there, it felt like everybody that I saw at that show was just like, just their authentic self, dude. Like the guy who was trying to trade the Dakai hat for his sweater, he's like, no, I have an emotional attachment. I don't want to lose it. And he's like, can I give you a hug, though? Thank you for considering it. It was bad.
That's so cute.
Well, we're just co-creating those moments. We're constantly creating our reality every single moment.
Right.
So it's like if you can change your mindset, if you're constantly worrying and think bad things are gonna happen and you think your life's shit, then your life is gonna be shit.
Then it
and
has
bad
to
things
be.
are gonna fucking
It has
happen.
to be because you value
You know,
your
what
life
I,
too much.
you know what
yeah.
I mean? So it's like, no matter how hard it is, change that mindset whenever any of those stressors come up. Just know that it's gonna help you in some way that you might not understand yet. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
The hard part for me in the beginning, and now it's easier because I just see it so with so much equanimity, but was in the beginning when I said, okay, I've been living an anxious life because I've been leaning in so damn hard, and I'm prone to anxiety, and so I'd see somebody else going through a panic attack, and I'd run right over to him like, hey, you want me to help you figure out how to help you right now?
Well, it's 'cause you know how
I'll show you a couple of breathing techniques.
It's because you know how bad it feels.
Trust me, I had a lot of anxiety my whole life.
Right?
So you're trying to rip their cocoon off. And I found out, wow, you can maybe killing some
That can be too much. Yeah.
You have to use
Get your wings strong enough to be able to come out on your own.
You have to
Well,
use
tap your
discernment
full
though,
empowerment.
like to decide each person's different. You have to see what each person's ready for.
It's true.
If you say something to someone that they're not ready for, they'll reject it, even if it's true.
Exactly, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I had to
at
learn
all.
that the hard way over a 9-year period of
Me
time.
too.
And
And
to the ones that really matter, like I've got it to the point where
how you doing now, Tony?
they haven't left.
I didn't follow.
So funny.
You know about this because
I mean,
Well, yeah, it's like just building up. You know, like I've helped quite a few people over the last 9 years, like upwards of 30 some odd people, taking them to the portal, like helping them with addictions to like cocaine, meth, heroin, pills, depression, alcohol, just so many different fucking things. And like, there's a lot of times that I kind of like got it from Willa Luna, and then so it's like after a while I learned to just ask the medicine to help me with my discernment instead of trying to pick up somebody else's ability to discern. You know what I mean? Because there's like a way that you can read people about talking certain things and like knowing if I say this, that'll fuck up their cocoon. You know what I mean? And I don't want to kill the butterfly.
yeah, it's about us just being sensitive enough to be fully present to where we know that there's nothing that needs
Yeah,
to
and
be
that's
said.
what I was saying.
They're already okay right where they are.
That's what I was saying, because I've learned over the years to, like, you know, the ones that really matter the most, because there's a lot to Cassie's whole situation and the water element and the whole native thing and the blood and the land and just everything in general. It was like just, it's like a learning period to be able to get to that point, to know exactly what to say and not, discernment. Just not
That's exactly what I'm saying. Bro.
not like be like, hey, you need to do this exactly because
Right.
it's
it
not
didn't
your
work
place to
very
point
well.
out the exact process
It
that somebody else has
didn't
passed
work.
because it's told from somebody else. They've not been
Right?
able to
If I can see how to
subconscious
fix your
somebody.
problem and I tell you, you're gonna think I'm telling you there's all these fucking things wrong with you and you're not gonna accept it in a like a loving
So
way
the
where
best
it's
thing
like
to do is just to kind of shed light in different areas so that they can kind of see
Right.
the
Shift the
surrounding. Don't
perspective.
ever like shine it directly on.
just
because
shift the
when you-
perspective a little bit. A paradigm shift, you know, like
There's tools for that, and the Socratic method is one of the best ones. Turn everything into question form.
What method?
The Socratic method,
Socratic.
where you turn everything into question form that you have to say, and that way it provokes a thought.
And
that's what
and a creative
Subconsciously,
response.
that's what I had started to do. Is just
Yeah.
to ask questions instead of like.
you have to ask the right
Tell it-
questions.
yeah,
though.
yeah.
You can't like just like
Yeah.
you said, you can't shine a flashlight on certain
So
shit.
you can't
man.
just tell the
'Cause then I'll be
thing.
like,
You have to
what?
ask. Yeah.
Asking is the most powerful way of telling.
And if we walk around feeling like our job is to tell, then who are
Well, it's
we?
just to lead the people.
To
It's
to
not
realize
a
that
shot
we're not
of talk,
even, in, we're
right,
not even
yeah.
in God mode at that moment. We're not in beast
Right.
mode because we're not the student.
It
And
doesn't-
we're not in self-discovery mode. And we're not seeing
Yeah.
everything's happening for me instead of to me. So we walk around thinking that we're a teacher,
Yep.
Yeah.
or a healer,
we
or
are.
a shaman, or a whatever.
We are, but it doesn't really matter because all that matters is like you leading these people to the water. They can choose to drink or not. They just have to have the information, and information is so like sequestered, and there's so much misinformation out there, like in everything and everywhere. You know what I mean? It's like
I think what I think that I have
Start doing
wrestled with
pamphlets
this
and
inside
flyers.
myself for so long.
Can't do
That
that censorship.
I think that the idea of just being our authentic selves is the ultimate way of leading somebody to the water. Because
It
now
is.
the bright light, the brightness of the white, the brightness of the light, the love, it just effortlessly illuminates it all. And then everybody who wants to get whatever they want to get out of it, they come around in their own time. And we all now honor exactly specifically that everybody's on their own path. And everybody's my equal.
well, authentic,
Nobody's lesser than me because they have different skills than me.
Right.
Oh,
authenticity.
I got skills people don't have any concept for because I don't even know how to put them into words yet. And most people don't want to come to me and ask me about them. I'm not going to just go force myself upon that. But I see it in everybody. You have specific skills, Marana, that blow my mind. Ashton, if you guys really tapped in and asked him questions, he will blow your mind. Link's the same way. Cassie's the same way. Jordan. Every one of us is the same way.
Authenticity scares people who are not authentic because if you're being fake authentic and someone's being real authentic, it's going to make you feel bad about being fake, and so you're going to get overly defensive. So like
That's why people can't stand me sometimes. Happen, dude.
So you just have to like be careful what you say around certain fucking people. Do you know what I mean? Because people will take it the wrong way.
What was that one guy's name? Stark's house.
We all speak the
Tyson Hyde. Is that his name?
I don't know. Well, it's like we all speak the same language.
There's
but
this
just
one
because
guy.
We all speak English doesn't mean that
Why?
your definition of a word isn't slightly different from my definition of a word.
Way
So like we need to
different,
make sure we're communicating correctly. And people
awesome.
who aren't authentic don't like to communicate. They like to like make facades and lies and hide
Define your
shit. So when you
terms.
try to shine
I was
lights
like
on that,
completely being
it scares them unless they're ready to be authentic.
Right,
You
so
know?
then it's
You can't make
naturally-
anybody do anything, but you can give them the tools if they want to, and they can come. You know, like or not in their own time.
Yeah, and it's all perfect. And I don't have to be morally superior
You're
to
not.
think that they're just
And even if they
being
think
stubborn.
even
and
if they
wants
think
to-
you feel that way, it doesn't matter because you know you're not. You know, so it is what it is.
It's like going back to the earlier
Right.
part of the conversation where we're valuing. I mean, right now I have massive just honor and respect for all my Mormon family, who are just still right deep in all the middle of it, not willing to address certain I hope they don't even watch that. I hope they don't see what I'm
All
saying
my
right now,
Mormon
because I
family's
actually
coming
want
around,
to
man.
respect what they're saying. They're only going to come to any awarenesses that they want to, whenever they want to, and I'm not better than them.
Yeah.
I have a different vantage point. That's all.
That's why when I go to like my Mormon family stuff, like they're still kind of Mormon, pretty Mormon, but they'll listen to what I have to say. So I'll just say stuff about like my experiences, which what I believe correlates pretty closely with what they believe, but they have all these restrictions around their beliefs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's
Prohibitions,
like, you're right?
exclusions.
You know what I mean? So it's like they're coming around to the idea of it, but I just am me, unapologetically, authentically me. And if I feel like I should share something with them, like it helps get them more on their path, you know?
Yeah.
'Cause people are afraid to admit maybe something they devoted their whole life to might not be the entire truth. You know what I mean? It could be life shattering.
Right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you know,
That one day, you're like, wait a minute.
Right?
I believe isn't the truth. And I just instantly just like
people's worlds will crumble, dude. Like,
well, I just
yeah.
asked that question and all of a sudden I know the answer.
Shit. That's a tough pill to swallow.
It's very tough, and you just spend all this time angry that you've been bamboozled, and you detach from everything, and then you're like, oh.
Then you
this
gotta figure
man,
Now
out
what have I
you're
done?
detached,
some
like,
middle ground, bro.
where's
Figure
my
out what's
intentionality?
real.
I'm still alive. Why am I even doing this? And you got to come back in and say, hey, I got to find a reason to wake up in the mornings. And now it's to look at everybody and say, look at all the badasses before me. If you're on this planet, I guarantee you, you're one of the bravest
this
things
is
that
fucking-
ever existed.
this is the fucking
8 billion
proving grounds.
plus, it's a really small number. Trust me. Really small number.
In the
It's
scope
just
of things.
a tiny
Oh,
little few of us
Oh, yeah.
that are playing a hard life. And anybody who's fixed right now in their mindset, I've learned to look at it and say, isn't that the leverage points that we're using collectively? We're all using those collectively, so it's nothing wrong with it. It's a beautiful, it's what we leverage from. To say, hey, I'm gonna look at that and say, how's this instructive for me? Well, I'm not gonna walk around exclusively saying, hey, eventually you're gonna come around to my special way of seeing things, because that's exclusive.
Right,
I've shifted my
right.
beliefs into inclusivity. But, so here we are gently nudging by saying, hey, we're gonna go live and have a COZSNUG conversation. It's gently nudging. We're not saying, hey, you gotta watch this, or else something bad gonna happen, because it's not the way that it is. Whatever your life you're living right now, kudos to you for being here. You didn't kill yourself. Why is the big question.
For real.
Why are you waking up in the morning? Why? What's your big why? Why am I doing this? Why? I can tell you definitively, with precision, with absolute clarity, why I exist now. It's because every single one of us deserves to enjoy our day. Every moment of our day. And I am living proof that, and I'm going to be that living proof constantly. You can't find one single unauthentic part of my day. Nobody can, for a while now. I'm an authentic thing. Because I'm real. And if I'm feeling something or whatever, I'm going to, but I also don't feel like it's not incumbent upon us to, once we know, to go out and share it with And that's a Western. That's a very
I did that,
religious
bro. It fucking
proselyte.
alienates people from you. Like the first time I started seeing aliens and shit, I started trying to tell all my friends about it, and now they all think I'm this crazy UFO guy. Now the Pentagon's released all this proof that UFOs are real, and they're sending me these videos when I was trying to tell them about it before. So it's like if people aren't ready to hear something, they will reject it.
In 2015, I
100%.
came back trying to tell everybody about
That's fine.
ayahuasca, and they alienated the fuck out of me.
I wanted to go the second you told me about it, bro. Like
yeah.
for real. At Nick's house when you played me that song.
Oh yeah, Nick. That's when I heard "Medicine for the People" the first time. That Aloha Kid Taylor was there.
Yeah, bro. That was the first time you told me about ayahuasca, and it was like 4 or 5.
Were you there when I dug the chip out of my leg?
No, Bridger was. You told me about that shit. Though. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Shit was wild.
He doesn't talk about it because he didn't believe you, and you pulled something out of your fucking leg, and he was like,
Yeah.
"What?"
Well, Luna told me to pull it out of my leg, dude. She's like, "Oh, they put one in here right there, and you need to get a knife and purify it, and then do it with intention." So I lit a candle, cleansed that Damascus blade, and then as soon as it started coming out, Bridger's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" It's real.
I just saw Starseed outside when I was on that phone call. They're watching over us.
That's beautiful. You know what? I want to say something about that. I had an experience maybe a handful of months, maybe 6, 7, 8 months ago. I'm sitting in the hot tub, sitting across from this beautiful gal who I've never met before. And her name's Kylie. And I'm just fascinated by Kylie. But that first thing she started to talk to me about was she said, yeah, I remember a whole bunch of my past lives. And the logical guy in me that found out that I had been bamboozled and believed all this stuff, and I come across the understanding that every one of us has different belief systems, and that's our universe. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, well, yeah, okay, that's fine for you to believe all that stuff and everything. But my first thought, typically in the past, had been, well, but you know that our past is just a pile of shit, right? Our past, it's always now. So the first thing I'd always say, if I was trying to peel their cocoon off for them, was, well, but you know that it's always now, right?
Present moment.
And in this experience, I just said, I'm going to listen to every single thing she tells me. She's telling me authentically what her beliefs are. Why would I not honor that? I honor what everybody's beliefs are, so why wouldn't I honor this? And I just sat there and I listened with intensity. Tell me more, tell me more. And she told me about one life after another, all these details. And I got this awareness that I hadn't been good enough at the skill of vibrating as a receptive thing. I was vibrating, sometimes receptive, sometimes resistant. I was listening to react, and then I got to the point where I was like, well, I'm no longer listening to react, I'm listening to respond.
Yeah.
And then I realized that it was different to listen to learn than to listen or to react or respond. And so I juxtaposed. In that moment, I saw how vibrating receptive added her to me. I added her life to me in that moment. I received her so fully. I just gathered so much data, I just had so much massive love for her. Subsequently, in the past several months, I've written papers about the concept of false empowerment, I called it at the time. Now I call it feigned empowerment. Now I call it fake empowerment. It's a limited empowerment. Whatever you want to think. I'm juxtaposing it up against what happens when I fold myself all the way inside.
Compartmentalized empowerment.
You were leading with the ego, bro.
Compartmentalized, like limiting. But the value of the limited empowerment, it's what got me to this point.
Yeah.
I used it as a leverage point. So there's nothing wrong with it ever to begin with.
The ego's necessary. It protected you up to this point, but it was hurt when it found out your whole life might have been a lie, right? You know,
ego is a part of it.
So I wanted to kill it at first.
Well, it was pissed off, and it still wanted to react in that way. But you were in a state of realizing that maybe your reality, like what you taught, wasn't the full truth. And so it's not like a battle. It's trying to like figure out how to give love to your ego and like appreciation for like, cause it protects you. It's what gets you through, like, got you through most of your shit before you were like super spiritual. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you have to honor the ego as well as
You
like
have to
not
honor the
listen to it all the
ego's street
fucking
parts
time.
and
You know what I mean?
and what's men abilities.
Yeah, it's full partnership with it,
Yeah.
where I've learned how to put my ego into the co-pilot seat and buckle it in.
Yeah.
Hey, we're co-pilots,
Yeah,
but you're
yeah.
buckled in now, and I've learned how to tame my inner critic. I don't talk
Yeah.
shit to myself anymore like I used to.
Right,
I used
that's
to
a
say
huge one.
things about myself that were like shitty.
And people do. That's a huge thing.
So in that
Programming
moment,
thing.
what I was doing though, if I ever talked that way to myself or put myself as feeling like I was morally superior in some way, to, well, you know, it's always now though, because it is always now. But at the same time, everybody's past, which we're just projecting, is so valuable that it's the only possible way we can have this experience.
Right.
And so I let go of the idea, and what it did was it allowed me to actually write this whole concept, but with an understanding that it doesn't matter whether somebody believes in some limited form of empowerment or not, because we'll all actually fold it in whenever we want to. And we learned that true strength lies within. Fold it in. Go back to the first part of this conversation. Hey, am I being fully accountable right now or not? Am I talking fully accountable, or is there some part of me still that is wearing my victim glasses? That's going to be a little bit triggerable still, or has a little bit of fear, or whatever it is. If I'm believing that something external is going to heal me, or I need something external, I'm believing in false empowerment.
Right.
At some level. But it's awareness that's just gained, because there is no drug that I need to take to get me to understanding the effortlessness of standing in a place of true strength. Perfect strength is effortless. Be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You find out you're a big old ball of light and love. You go there as many times as you want. You're just still a big ball of light and love. It's pretty boring when you're there, so you come back down here and you're like, oh, I got some work to do. I want to do all this. I want to value this experience that I've had, because at some level, I've been doing that all along, was valuing the concept of some amount of limited empowerment that got me to the point where I finally understood that true strength is about folding it all the way in all the time. So I know there's no absolute need for me to say any of these words I'm saying right now. I'm just with my friends who seem to care about me enough to sit here and listen to my words and value my internal universe just like they value theirs. And so this concept of, I never my entire life believed in any amount of UFOs, aliens, anything. Nothing. I'm like, you can tell me about that shit all you want to. I don't believe it. Nowadays, though, somebody starts telling me about their experience with aliens. I'm like, tell me more.
Right.
What's the instruction here for me? What's the instruction? What's the value in this?
Right.
Because I'm valuing your experience just as much as mine.
Well, we all teach each
And
other.
it's constant. And so, regardless of
What
whatever.
layer of analogy is it, and how does it apply on a different scale? That's more in terms more interpretable to myself.
Beautiful, exactly.
Beautiful, yeah,
Say
well
that
said.
again, slow it down, because most of us can't hear it as fast as you talk, Link.
Say what again?
Yes, I get it.
Say what
It's the
again?
layer, it's the analogy. the
Oh
layer.
yeah, it's a layer of analogy that you have to interpret and then reapply into a glossary or dictionary of understanding that you do know, or a jargon, or
Right,
a model.
perfect.
A
Whether it's a
frame of
geometry
reference.
or a professional, like this applies. In IT, in this model of things, or there's all these
Right.
little analogies in all the other
You have to have a
systems
Now every
that
moment's
exist.
instructive, and every
That
person's
exist,
my
yeah.
teacher.
Yeah.
And now I realize I'm my own.
It's like reading quantum physics stuff and religious text side by side. You're just like, oh, that's the same as that, right? These both make sense on some incredible levels,
Right.
And more sense only because they're side by side next to each other, rather than
Right.
exclusively this or exclusively that. And I'm just like, dude, religion and science are the two biggest polar, like, dude, it's the male and female totally.
Exactly. Yeah, I see what you're.
But we have suffered from the chauvinization of both of them. So it's like you got two gay guys instead of a male and a female.
Right. Exactly.
That's where shit's all out of balance.
Yeah.
Right. And that's all shifting. That's all shifting rapidly. That's shifted in my universe inside of me. I've got full care and love for the depths of what I had to bow down before the feminine inside of me, like fully as the supreme being. But the way I put it in the context of, I don't know how to put it into words yet. Maybe I ought to not say anything.
Develop that one further.
I definitively, believe there's value in learning how else can you find balance but to fully balance out all your yin and yang, all your feminine and masculine. I had to become perfectly okay to become a perfect mother role inside myself, to know what it was like to mother myself. Like, oh yeah, I am my own mother.
Can be.
If I fold it all in, I'm one thing, but am I just one thing? Because I got a me in here, but there's also a we. So now I'm two things. Well, I must have created a two out of a one.
I have to send you a link to Daniel's poem.
Oh. Daniel's poem? I love that.
It's a private link, but it's on YouTube.
I love that. He was excited to talk to me about you guys.
Yeah, all I do is show up, and people are like, "What?" And they have these crazy epiphanous things, and I'm just like, "Sweet, I'm doing this for somebody else too. I gotta go."
It's effortless just to be what you are. I said, "What's your why?" Tell us your why, Link. It's so easy.
Because all human interactions should be healing and intent.
Yeah. Why wouldn't I just have all my human interactions done from a standpoint? What a great why.
Like everybody can intend better, and nobody can fucking lose from it as a result of it.
Everybody wins.
Hell
I
yeah!
intent when I'm relating to you.
How easy is that?
Because I am you, bro.
Exactly.
Like I heard this analogy the other day. It's like you have like 70-something trillion cells in your body. And so you're the creator of your universe. You're the god of your body. And over all those cells, each one of those cells is just like one of us incarnated here. And everywhere else. That's why some people can remember their past lives and other stuff. You know, there's like memory cells. There's like blood cells, all sorts of different cells dedicated to different things. You know?
Dude, you can do meditation. You can do meditation where you're like over at PA intercom to every cell in your body, and you know what? They will all cheer.
To all my cells all
they
the
will
time,
all
bro.
cheer, and you can promote
you
can promote the self love and everything else at the cellular level. And
every organ, bro.
It feels
every
incredible.
Cell, everything, bro.
So right. Like when you said when you first come in, I was like, "Oh, Jordan, thank you for being this way." Just to talk effortlessly about the fact that when you're diving in and doing your thing, you're like trying to tap into what's happening over in Israel and Palestine.
I mean, I
it's
see
like
all of it. It's a
of you.
piece of me, bro. Like, it's inside of me. If there's something I can change inside of me to make things better, then I will.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, and if you really want to know what's going on in there, you almost have to tap inside anyway, because a lot of the information that we're fed is like
super bullshit information.
To try and
right?
promote
figure out
agendas and
the
actions
truth,
and opinions. So don't be spoon-fed unless you're holding the spoon.
That's what I'm saying. If you don't learn how to
Unless
like,
you want to be,
Irish.
unless
you don't learn how
Unless
to,
that's your thing.
if you don't learn how to think for yourself, you'll never learn how to like build your own business, and then you'll end up working for somebody else doing what they tell you to do, just so you can survive.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I mean, like,
but there are options.
We shouldn't be like that. Like, we don't need all these factories and shit. Like, we don't need all this excess stuff.
That's the codependence model.
We should go back to like the tribal settings, like smaller fucking group, like work the land, help each other out, like.
Trade.
You know, like we don't fucking need all this
That's what
shit.
we've all done. It's happening everywhere. There's people that are like leaning on their friends for. I mean, that's what we do. We help each other. We're helping each other in our businesses. We're helping each other in our. We're helping each other in life.
It's just so hard when you have to
Friends.
trade all your time for something that helps you survive. Do you know what I mean? You're exchanging your time for money, and money is how you survive. You know?
And we're still transactionalizing relationships instead of realizing what we could be doing.
There's no givens on anything, you know.
You
So
know,
everybody's so scared.
it's such a fiercely reinforced pattern by centuries of existence. The physical monetary currencies, they do have a bit of a everybody who's participating in that pogrom or program or whatever you want to call it doesn't even see how enwrapped and entangled up in it they are. But as soon as they step out of it, they're like, holy crap, I was that, and everybody else is that, and I don't know how to tell them, because if you would have told me, I would have just looked at you like, huh?
Right, exactly.
You know?
you have to have the experience yourself. You can lead people to the information until they take it in. Like, you can't make anyone believe or do anything at all.
Yeah, no, when people realize, wait, I'm just feeding the status quo that I loathe, I have to do something different. Even if you don't know what it is, just separate, sever, and do the faith thing, and you'll find it pretty quick.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
That is a conversation I think we should have as a full COZSNUG, the faith conversation. What that actually means, because everybody I know has a different definition of what they call faith.
Faith is the most powerful magic of all.
Because I can ask, like, the divinity any question I
What's happening
have,
right now?
so I don't have any worries. Like, if I have an anxiety or worry about something, like, I just ask my guides or the creator, and I get an answer, so I don't have to worry. Because if I worry, I will create worry in my life. I'm creating my reality every moment. And so it's necessary to, like, reflect on the past and plan for the future, but to live right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you have to look in the past, and you have to look in the future. You have to come back.
The looking in the past part in my experience has just become, it just feels like it's more effortless because I'm not having to like do any detailed thinking about the past. I'm just accessing all the actual experience I've had and it's just effortlessly all there.
Well, it's because you don't live there anymore. When you live in the past, it's fucking, it overwhelms you. You know, you're thinking about all this crazy fucked up shit that's happened to you that's going to become your reality. So it's like, if you can view the past and take like learning lessons from it and then come back to the present, that's how it's useful. To help you plan for the future, to not repeat your last mistakes. Do you know what I mean? But if you live in the past, you live in worry, you live in fear, and you create that reality.
Yeah, and then we're just still struggling instead of feeling like we're alive.
Yeah.
With our friends, enjoying life.
Oh yeah.
Emerging. Constant emergence.
Yeah, if I would have held on to everything out of all the experiences I've had, I probably would be like either dead or like 750 pounds.
No, I feel it.
750, that's kind of light compared to
Be all angry and just.
Sladetsky, get over here.
Oh, that's funny, bro.
Alright, guys, is that where we want to break off?
I'm down, bro. That was pretty good.
Man, that was a beautiful,
you,
diverse conversation.
I'll bet that
So
flowed real good for
I wish
like
I
I
could
don't know
make
where
it down.
where it started at, but I came in here and curveballed that whole thing.
Well, I think
Wait, maybe it was Cassie that was the biggest curveball.
It could have been.
I feel like it all led
I
back.
didn't mean to.
I feel like it all
You're
led back to
welcome.
the same thing. Is like how not to worry about shit. You know what I mean? It's like how not to let stressors get to you. Everything led back to that. It's just like your beliefs shape your reality. Like if you believe something's gonna hurt you, it'll fucking hurt
guess
you.
what shapes your beliefs?
Like I
Your
don't
thoughts.
get sick anymore because I don't get sick anymore. I told myself I don't get sick. I don't believe I get sick. One of my really close friends just got pneumonia and I was with them when they had it and I didn't get sick. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I don't believe I get sick anymore. It's a belief system.
Hey, you chubbiness. Oh, you're so.
Oh, right there.
Oh,
What's this cat's name?
Gilly.
Gilly.
Hello, bro.
Sorry, not to steal your seat.
No, you're good, bro.
You're cute, chubby Gilly.
To who?
Oh,
Why are you talking like
serious?
To who?
That's what I'm saying. Ever
Creeper.
since this new update,